magnet. In fact, a solenoid behaves as a bar magnet, right? So this thing, force on a moving charge in a magnetic field. So a current carrying conductor is what? It is actually, it actually has charges moving inside it, right? So charges are moving, then only we say that a current is flowing. So that's what we are going to see here. That is the first part, that if there is an isolated charge and if that comes into a magnetic field and it starts moving, then it is observed that it experiences a force, and this phenomena was observed and was proposed by or given by a scientist called Lorentz. So that's why this force is also called Lorentz force, right? And it is observed that that particular force is directly proportional to the magnitude of charge, the charge which is moving. It is also directly proportional to the velocity of charge, and it is also directly proportional to the magnetic field. So now if you see, there are two vectors here. U is a scalar quantity, but this velocity and magnetic fields are vectors, right? So the magnitude of force is proportional or is directly proportional to these. And it was also observed that the force was perpendicular to velocity, and the force was also perpendicular to the magnetic field, the direction of the force. So the force was such that it was proportional to all these three quantities. At the same time, it was also perpendicular to the plane containing V and B. So when this comes into picture in terms of vector, the only thing that comes in our mind is that it is a vector product.
Cross product.
It is a cross product or a vector product, right? And it is actually V cross B. So if this is V, this is B, right? Velocity vector and field vector, and we are finding V cross B. That means we are moving from this direction to this direction. So our product will be perpendicular to this plane which contains both B and V. Suppose B and V are in this plane of the screen, then how do you find out this? Again, you have to use your right hand thumb rule in order to find this. That is, you take your fingers or put your fingers on this curved arrow, and then your thumb will point in the direction of magnetic the force, right? And when it is perpendicular, we actually use the Fleming's right hand rule, and that is nothing but Fleming's left hand rule. That is something which we use always whenever we have to find the direction of a vector product. So in that case, what we say is, or suppose, let me draw this XYZ plane, then you will be able to understand better. Suppose this is X axis, this is Y axis, and this one is Z axis. And suppose your velocity is along X axis. This is velocity vector that is along X axis. And suppose the magnetic field is along Y axis. This is magnetic field which is along Y axis. Then your force will be along Z axis.
Z axis.
This will be the force, right? You can have different, there are different rules for that. Now, in order to understand this, left hand rule, if we have to apply the left hand rule, you have to now spread your thumb and the next two fingers, if you spread that properly, you will see that they are all perpendicular to each other,
Yeah.
right? And then you have to have your this the force will be given by the direction of your thumb. The first finger will be always in the direction of magnetic field. Now there are three different things, so that's why in order to remember this, you try to eliminate unnecessary things. So the first thing is that your first finger, right, that should be direct, the first two fingers out of those, the forefinger points in the direction of the magnetic field. Just remember that two things: four fingers in the direction of magnetic field and force in the direction of thumb. So always, most of the times, the resultant will be in the direction of thumb. So make note of that. So that means here in this case, we are finding force. So that force will be in direction of thumb. Then two fingers are left. In those two fingers, your forefinger will be in the direction of magnetic field. So what you can do is you can use your pen and write B on your first finger or forefinger of your left hand. For a few days, you do that so that you remember that that particular finger always points in the direction of magnetic field. And now you try to do that. You will see that in this particular diagram, if you apply that, you will see that your first finger of your left hand is actually going upwards. Your second finger is actually in the direction of x-axis, that is towards the right side of your screen, and then the thumb will be actually pointing towards you. So that is the direction of the force, right? So what does it mean? If there is a charge here, suppose there is a charge here and the charge is moving in this x-axis direction, and there is a magnetic field which is going upward, then the force will be towards you. Then the charge will be actually pulled towards you, right? So that is what force on moving charge and the direction is. That's how direction is related to this. And we have already seen that this is V cross B. So if I have to now write this Lorentz force formula once again, I'll write F is equals to Q into V cross B, right? So remember QVB, that is Q into V cross B. Q is scalar, so that doesn't matter. That will only give you the extent or the intensity, and the direction will be given by only V cross B. So this is that important formula. It has the both magnitude as well as direction. It is always perpendicular to both V and B. Right. So that is by Fleming's left hand rule. And now in the same thing, you can also apply your right hand rule. So right hand rule says what? Your fingers should now actually, the right hand, the four fingers, there are in the fingers, all those fingers should actually be in the direction of this arrow, the curved red arrow, which is going from x-axis towards y-axis. So you will observe that your right hand thumb is actually pointing towards you. So that is again the same thing. Either you do using Fleming's left hand rule or you use the right hand thumb rule, thumb and palm rule. It will give you the same result in terms of direction. And also the right hand screw rule. The screw which you see in your day-to-day life, not exactly the same screw. You should not think only about that. Even the you can say the lid of your water bottle, right? Even that is a right hand screw. So what happens there is, when to open it, you have to rotate it in the anti-clockwise direction, that is towards left, and to close it you have to rotate it in the clockwise direction. Such screw system is called right hand screw. And there are opposite of that as well, which you can also find in your day-to-day life. You try the same thing with your marker. So the whiteboard marker or the permanent marker which you see, and try to open that for refilling. If you open that, you see that you won't be able to open that in the way you open your bottle. It is just opposite of that. So that is actually your left hand screw. We are interested in the right hand screw. So now suppose your bottle is kept like kept in the horizontal plane, right? Horizontal plane, and it is facing you. The lid is facing you. Then in order to open it, what you will do, you will actually rotate it in anti-clockwise direction. That is this direction which is shown here. And what will happen to the lid? Lid will actually come towards you, right? Imagine it.
Yeah.
Or if you have a bottle handy with you, you can actually even try that. In order to open it, you will have to rotate it left side or anti-clockwise. Or if you rotate it in this direction, which is shown here, the lid will actually come towards you. So that is this direction again. So all these three rules give you the same direction. Now whatever rule suits you, whatever rule you are able to remember it. It is better to remember all three of them. All three of them are actually same. Right? So the main point is that it is equals to this. This is the magnitude as well as direction. If I have to find only magnitude, magnitude will be QVB sine theta. So sine theta is maximum and theta is 90 degree. That is 1. So the maximum force it can experience is QVB, and the minimum force it can experience is 0. When theta is 90 degree, this when theta is 0 degree. So that means when a charge is moving along the magnetic field, there won't be any force on this. And when the charge is moving in any direction other than the direction of magnetic field, then there will be a force on this, right? So there will be no force if the charge is moving in direction parallel to or anti-parallel to the magnetic field. So charge, motion, and magnetic field should not be in same direction or in same line. Otherwise, the magnetic field will be 0. Right? So let's make this picture clear. If this is magnetic field and charge is also moving in the same direction, then force is equals to 0. Even if it is like this, right? That is, suppose this is the magnetic field and this is the velocity. Even in that case, force will be 0. They should not be in the same line. And if it is like this, such that the angle between them is 90 degree, in that case, the force will be QVB. That is the maximum force, right? So that is Lorentz force, or force on a moving charge in a magnetic field. And one thing you have to be sure is, or be aware of, is that at this time this Q is a positive charge. So it is the direction of the positive charge. And that's why the velocity can also be the direction of current. Because conventional current is the direction of positive charge, or the flow of positive charge. Actually, electron flows. But when electron is flowing in one direction, that means there is not proton, but positive charge flowing in opposite direction. So this we have to make note of. that this is the positive charge which we are interested in. So V is actually the velocity of positive charge, and because it is velocity of positive charge, we can also use current for this, right? So you say V or I, they are same. V or I, they are same, right? So that is magnetic field. Sorry, that is the Lorentz force, and total Lorentz force is the total force on the charge. That is, in case if there is even an electric field, then due to electric field, we have already seen that the force on charge is given by QE, and if there is magnetic field, just now we have seen that the charge will be given by QVB or QV cross B, right? So the total force is called the Lorentz force, and that total force is actually equals to Q into E plus V cross B. That is the total Lorentz force. That is electrostatic force plus the magnetic force, or the force due to magnetic field. So this is called the Lorentz force, right? So that is all about the forces or the force on this. Now there are different cases for this, or some application for this, which we'll see in the next class. Or what else do we have? So that's all. Then we'll see some other uh, application of this, and after that we'll be doing some numericals, right? And there is a device based on this called cyclotron, so we'll study that device as well. So we are almost done with half of this chapter, that is magnetic effect of current. So almost half done. And in meanwhile, so we'll try to finish this, but in meanwhile, if some of you guys have some test and all and you want to revise the previous chapters, just let me know so that we can revise those chapters. I don't want you to forget those chapters when we are moving ahead, right?
Yes, sir.
So this portion is anyways 12th class portion of physics is very easy and not that huge. So in between also, if you want some revision, any one of you having some test, you want some revision, you want some exercises to be done, or you want some worksheet, just let me know. So we are on the 4th chapter, that is magnetic effect of current. After that there is one big chapter, that is electro EMI and AC, and after that it's almost half done. More than half of this physics will be done, right? So that's all for today. Anything, any doubt? Anyone has any question? Can you send worksheet for the first chapter? Okay. Okay, I'll send few questions today itself. Okay then. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.